Hello, this is Perry McGowan. I'm with Clifton Larson Allen in the Minneapolis office, and I'm here with Ken Simonson, Chief Economist for the Associated General Contractors of America. We've been meeting here in Washington today on June 8th, 2018, and Ken and I thought we'd sit down and share a few thoughts with you about the trends in the construction marketplace as it relates to the economy and taxation. So Ken, to begin with, the construction spending in the United States is now at its highest level in history. Meanwhile, unemployment nationally is near or at its all-time low. Can construction continue to grow in this kind of a market, or are we at our limits?
I don't think we're at our limits. I know a lot of people have been worrying that the expansion is getting too long in the tooth, but economists say that expansions don't die of old age. They have to be pushed into the grave, and I think it's the same with demand for construction. As long as the economy is healthy and population is growing, there are a lot of factors that are going to keep construction, if not booming, at least humming along. So I think for this year, we'll see another 3 to 5% increase in construction spending.
Well, that's pretty optimistic. Now, if labor prices are on the upswing and material prices are on the upswing, are bid prices rising fast enough, and or do they need to rise faster?
Well, we don't get direct evidence on surveys of bids, but the Bureau of Labor Statistics does have a producer price index for what contractors say they would charge to put up a specific set of non-residential buildings, and that number has accelerated somewhat. It's in the 4% year-over-year increase range. That's keeping up for the moment with the increase in labor costs, but lately the increase in materials costs has shot past that to about a 6% growth. So in order to close that gap, contractors are going to have to increase productivity or maybe be able to push up prices.
Okay. And are you thinking that we are overbuilding? And if so, in what sectors would that be?
For the most part, I don't hear evidence of overbuilding. That occupancy rates remain fairly static. The area I'm concerned about the most is lodging. For now, that's growing at a strong rate, but historically, that's one that changes very abruptly. And if investors decide the market is saturated, or tourism suddenly drops off, or businesses tighten their travel budgets, then you could see a lot of empty hotel rooms and then a drop in construction.
Okay, all right. Recently in the news, we've seen a lot of talk about tariffs and the risk of tariffs. Do you think that tariffs will be a drag on construction?
I think tariffs are a threat in two ways. First, contractors, of course, generally have to guarantee a price long before they buy items like steel. And to the extent that the tariffs come in higher than contractors have allowed for, it's really going to knock the profit out of a lot of projects. But more important is that it can also knock the props out from demand, both because companies find their own steel and aluminum costs have gone up, or because retaliatory measures by other countries have taken away their ability to sell their products.
Yeah, makes sense. Question about tax reform. It's been about 5 months now since we've had tax reform signed into law. Are you seeing effects from tax reform in the construction statistics, or if not, do you expect to?
I sure haven't seen it yet. There are a lot of announcements about salary increases and bonuses, stock buybacks, and dividend increases, but very little about new plant investment as a result of the Tax Act. It may just take longer to make those decisions, or there may still be uncertainty about what tax law applies to a given company. But at any rate, nothing is showing up among the contractors I've talked to.
Yeah, well, I would certainly say in our marketplace, there's a lot of uncertainty with our pass-through entities on how the tax law is going to affect them, and it will take some time for that to play out.
Sure.
But I appreciate your comments here today. We want to share these kind of messages with the CLA family around the country. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back with more messages later.